Everybody, welcome back. The streak is getting very real. 38 wins in a row. I can't remember what the last two got to. They were in the 30s, I think, when they ate it. We're starting with wait what? 4149 JHHQ. What a strangely near symmetrical seed. So wait what is amazing. Our HP is amazing. Our other two stats are merely adequate. It'll be weird. What if we pronounced adequate like adequate, you know? Trying to, are there any words we do that? We put the TE gets a te instead of a, or gets a te instead of a t. It's a hard thing to think of. I gave my brain a very difficult task to process there while also trying to dodge those shots and shoot simultaneously. What, like karate, but that's kind of like from another, you know, language. We kind of borrowed the word, right? It's not stealing, it's borrowing. We'll give it back eventually. I say we like I have any control over the English language except for just, you know, using it, but okay. So Doctor's Remote is certainly not bad. However, Unlimited Bombs is certainly substantially better. To the point where I'm like, you know what? Should definitely try to blow up, like, all of these pots. Because a single quarter, like, in the late game, you get a quarter. It's like being a billionaire and somebody pays for your lunch. You're like, big whoop, you know? I buy and sell this restaurant 10 times a day without even knowing it. But in the early game, oh, dude, a quarter is big pog energy. You don't even know what you got until you got it. There we go. So we want to pick up this. This is like definitely one of the best trinkets in the game. I will accept no debate about this subject. Okay. We tried. Especially early, dude. If you get it late, it's a little bit like being a billionaire and somebody pays for your lunch. You're like, I could buy and sell this restaurant 100 times, you know, just with the money in my pocket. Hey, you don't try to hit me, you dip or dingle, I forget. So what we're looking for, minimum 5 cents. But if we can blow up a pot and maybe get to 25, that would be swell as well. Alright, pin is extremely toasted. You know what I would actually love to see is 9 volt. I feel like 9 volt would go a very, very long way towards making wait what almost like, you know, kamikaze pyro levels. Magic 8 Ball is a slap in the face. I'm not afraid to say it. Some of my colleagues won't say how they feel about Isaac items. Oh my god, the universe is collapsing. Why do some of the items have more than one stat associated with them? Some of them have none. Does this seem fair to you? Okay, get roasted. Thanks for the key. I think, if I were a secret room, I would be right here. Dude, this is a very pog-heavy room, without a doubt, and we pretty much accomplished our goal. Well, it's one way to kill time. I do want to go through that again. I think this is worth it, right? It's a speed upgrade. No, it's not. I don't know how many times I've said that recently, but it doesn't make it true. Alright, you know what? You earned it. There we go. 12 cents. I wouldn't buy anything here. You know, we'll just get the same thing half price online. Take me out of this floor. So we got a great chance to get a blood bag. Or at least an arcade on the next floor. And we got a lot of money as is, but an arcade would really... It would really send it. Excuse me. So I'm not using wait what on this guy, and I'll tell you why. It's a bad habit, but it's because of impatience. So I think I want to use it as early and as often as possible to try to get access to rooms that are secretive, shy rooms. Just keep it going. We got a tinted rock. We probably should try to access before anything else. There we go. And don't use that, because you never know. You might get like a Book of Revelations on this floor. You don't need to pick that up. That's doing the little things slightly wrong. Let me out! They didn't let me out. And I'm officially, like, kind of bad, but we redeemed ourselves very slightly at the end there. Okay. Still shoot the poop. I like to shoot the poop. I'm like a frustrating hockey team, you know? Like, play pretty well when we're, even, but then when we get a goal, we let one in right afterwards. Like the Canucks? No, not like the Canucks. If anything, it's more like the Vegas Golden Knights who, you know, in Game 5 took 30 minutes to score. We had like 7 shots on net, and then JT Miller with a beautiful saucer pass right onto the stick blade of Brock Besser for the tip-in goal 26 seconds later. It's really more like that, to be honest. So, you know, all I'm saying is you should know what you're talking about before you try to flex. Okay, we got a chest here. Just a little bit of money would go a long way. A key is always nice, don't get me wrong, but pennies are a girl's best friend right now. Give me maybe secret room access yet again. Nope. Well, obviously we want to blow that up as well, because there's a lot of potential value in there. You know what, I think we'll just wait it out. Maybe we can get the quarter out of this as well. It's the thought that counts. Alright. Moving on. We might as well still peep it. I mean, that's like a gimme. We don't like these items to begin with, so let's try to get a reroll out of it. We don't really like those items to begin with, but 3-cent Spirit Hearts are a steal of a deal. We did get our crawl space on this floor as well. Am I misremembering? Or if you have a... Like, are all crawl spaces on a floor instanced? You know what I mean? Like, if you get one crawl space, you can't get a second. Or if you get a second, it's the same, right? It's tempting, but I actually think, like, Mom's Purse is just not that great for us right now. Let's go fight the boss real quick. That might change how we feel about this. Like, if we get an amazing trinket from the boss, we might be like, you know, it's worth... I mean, it's always, in the early game, gonna be worth, if possible, holding on to, Counterfeit Penny. But you might also want to hold on to, like, Curved Horn. Oh my god. Alright, so this is the rare, very bountiful, deal with the devil. I think for sure you want Incubus, and for sure you want the Nail. And then, from there, we got some really good stuff going. Losing Wait What is not great. However, is also not that bad. We're gonna try to build up some Spirit Hearts for sure. I'll spend, because we actually have access to a lot of great stuff now. There's another battery charge available, but like there's even more than that. We will indeed go in here. I don't know if do we get a charge if we kill these guys? Either way, we do get a charge. Okay, I'd say it's probably worth it. Wouldn't recommend going that way. Wouldn't it be hilarious if we got trapped there and just died? Pick this up. I mean, this pretty much... I'll level with you that our stats are not that good, but in spite of that, this pretty much sends us into the, you know, like, you're gonna win the game territory. Incubus and the Nail are two... I wouldn't say Incubus is one of the items that has, like, the highest correlation with victories, but it's extremely great, obviously. I think just in general, any item that has, that gives you HP is gonna be on the top of that list. But it's still really good. I do want to just check and see, because we still might have an arcade. We probably wouldn't play it, but we do have a reroll machine, so, like, it's probably about to blow up. But in theory... there could be a situation where the plays make sense. Though I doubt it, we might as well take a look, right? Oh, dude, I'm still glad we took a look, because this could be 9 lives. I got a lot of sympathy for the bosses that can basically only attack by creating bombs that also home in on themselves. Well, it is not 9 lives. But I would say we're doing pretty well here. This is a pretty marked improvement on this floor. Allow me to caffeinate as we move forward here. Secret room? I don't have wait what anymore. I got to be a little bit more careful with my bomb usage. So blue candle is a beautiful thing, and if we had gotten that before we had gotten rid of wait what, we might have been like, that's the ticket. But I think we're much better off just holding the nail. Sadly, that's kind of a waste of a bomb, but it's okay. All right, 9 minutes deep, but we are we're in a slow but very survivable situation here. I mean, it should be an easy win. Let's put it that way. We'll even, like, go to these rooms early. So yeah, today is Friday. Always do a little Isaac recording on Friday. But it's a busy Friday. We just had a busy Thursday, but it's still a busy Friday as well. We're going to be doing a little... I mean, it's 5 or 6 days ago now. We're doing a little sponsor stream for Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. I got to tell you, you know, there's... I've had a lot of great sponsored opportunities lately, but when something comes in the inbox and is like, hey, do you want to, like, play a game that you're probably going to play anyway, but also will pay you to play it, and then this one also has, like, front page promotion attached to it as well, I feel like it's like being an athlete and being signed to, like, your childhood favorite sports team. They're like, hey, do you want to fulfill your dreams? And also, here's a contract for, like, multiple millions of dollars a year. Not that that's what I'm getting paid for Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, but, you know, maybe eventually once they see how good my kickflips are. So I'm very stoked about it. I think it's going to make a great stream. And then last night was the Twitch Chat's Choice Awards. It was a co-streamed event where I was also on screen for a little bit. It was a lot of fun. And we had fun with it too. I think it's the important thing, you know. Anytime Dan and I, if you like this kind of conversation, Dan and I, I'm sure we talked about it a little in advance of Check the Wire, or like on last week's Check the Wire, but we'll also talk about it next week because it's going to be a big dub. But you should listen to Check the Wire because we always talk about how, you know, without pulling the veil back too much. Sometimes we'll do events with other streamers, and it's not like any one event. It's happened with almost every event I've ever been a part of. Some of the streamers are like, you know, hey, thanks for inviting me. This was a lot of fun. I had a great time. Yeah, it didn't go super smoothly, but, you know, just to have the opportunity to be a part of it was great. And then some streamers are like, this is ridiculous. You know, this is a waste of my time. You got to communicate, like, more effectively how these things are going to go in the future. And I'm always like, man. Not only, like, from a self-interested perspective of, like, guess who's not getting invited next time, but from the perspective of just, like, you know, like, I'm always wary of, like, saying stuff like this because I think it makes me sound almost, like, too nice. I would rather continue to play the role of just being kind of like a lovable cynic, but I'm also, like, you know, first off, again, you're probably not going to get invited next time. It depends, like, if... You know, there's ways that you can be treated that are unacceptable, but then there's also, like, you know, there was a 30-minute delay that was out of anybody's hands. You know, and the way you react to that, I guess, it really shows something about your nature, I suppose. But then I'm like, secondarily, dude, you gotta recognize, like, if you're a streamer, YouTuber, etc., you really have, like, the easiest job in the entire... Not in the world, I mean, but, like, in any kind of event like that has producers and, like, actual hosts that are there for the whole time, and tech support, and, you know, people did ad sales for it and stuff like that. You know, there were like 20 people behind the scenes making sure that the call went as smoothly as possible. Anytime I see a streamer, you know, kind of go off about, like, oh, this was so badly organized, blah, 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 I'm like, dude, you need to... These people, like, worked late, didn't see their kids for a couple of days, all to get the Chat's Choice. Well, nobody said that about the Chat's Choice Awards, but about some other stuff I've been a part of. Like, you think you're the only person here who values their time? So I'm gonna take a risk. Risk taken and greatly appreciated there. It's not just like, you know, don't do it because you're gonna get blacklisted. It's more like don't do it because, like, you know, it makes you look ungrateful. Like, obviously, if an event goes kind of, like, spotty, you think the people involved in its organization aren't aware? It's like when you give a speech in, you know, elementary school or middle school. It's not like you're stumbling over your words and sweating up there. You're like, oh, I hope, you know, nobody... People that are watching are like, does he know this sucks? You're like, yeah, he knows it sucks. Look at him. His hands are soaking through the cue cards. You don't need to tell him it sucks. He's aware. He's already embarrassed. Why be a jerk about it? But, you know, the second thing on top of that is that it's just always fun to be a part of it. You know, I always, you know, and again, this is something that Dan and I, we kind of feed off each other here, but, you know, I think we don't get invited. Well, historically, I haven't been invited to, like, that many things, especially once I stopped saying yes to travel for so many things. It's not like I'm, you know, disliked. It's more, if you got the choice to, you know, go with maybe a bigger streamer, and you got the choice to go with me, who you haven't worked with before, who are you gonna go with? Or, you know, and I'm not even suggesting this is a conspiracy theory, but, you know, if you got a streamer that, you know, you as Twitch signed to an exclusivity deal, and you got the opportunity to, you know, give a little on-screen appearance to somebody, are you going to give it to the person you got signed to an exclusivity deal? Or are you going to give it to the person that's not a free agent, but is, you know, floating? Let's put it that way. Probably give it to the person you signed to an exclusivity deal for right of first refusal. But every time we get invited to something like this, my goal is always like, hey, we're going to try to bring our A game, our A+ game, and really stand out on top of, like, just being a nice, polite human being, so that we get more chances like that in the future. A, because it's great to be a part of it as the streamer, but B, because, dude, I feel like as a streamer, my number one, not complaint, but the thing, I'm always trying to come up with, like, new stuff to do that's exciting to watch, but it's really hard. You know, it's much easier to just boot up the stream and be like, everybody loves watching Fall Guys, so I'm gonna play Fall Guys. And I got nothing against that. I love Fall Guys too. So, when you get the opportunity where somebody's like, hey, we did all this work for you, and literally all you have to do is show up and, like, talk, which is what you do anyway, that's where I'm like, you guys are the real MVPs. You did all this. All I gotta do is crack a couple of jokes. That's why we did that Call of Duty Warzone tournament, even though we knew going into it, the odds of us competing against Call of Duty pros and coming out, you know, with the respect. I think we got a respectable finish. We were still, like, third last, but we were third last in a good way for us, not in the way that was like we completely screwed up. Those were, like, above average games for the most part, but anyway. And it's why, like, you know, Dan in the Tarkov Twitch Rivals brought his A game too, because, you know, you get those opportunities, you want to stick with them. If I could do, like, one event like that per month, I would be overjoyed. I mean, per month is a little, even that's a little greedy, honestly. But if I could do it 4 times a year, I would be overjoyed. I would do it forever. Okay, Dark Bum, work with me here. And there's always a little, like, some people are like, this was fun, but I would have rather had, like, the normal stream today. The good news is, normal streams ain't going anywhere, you know? That's the bread and butter. That's 99.99% of the content. I'm gonna keep you going here. I'm happy we did. I always think you use Potato Peeler one time. There have probably been times recently where I haven't, when your HP is really low. But if you get it for free, I think it's... And here's the thing, it was maybe like a week and a half ago, I had a Potato Peeler opportunity where I had like 12 or maybe like 9 HP and didn't really use it. People were in the comments like, I can't believe you wouldn't use it, what a misplay. And I'm like, dude, you gotta remember. I love Potato Peeler. In fact, I love it so much, I think it ended the first quarantine streak. So that's why I'm hesitant, right, to go back to the well that much. I have a history with Potato Peeler that's frightening to me and gives me pause. Hierophant's amazing. Fool is good enough to teleport out of here, and we're looking pretty good. Let me caffeinate. So that's my thoughts. I don't know. I'm always like, because we've seen the other side of it, right? Like, I saw how much work went into Champions Assault. I saw how much work went into Checkpoint League, organized by Apollo, and I was like, you know, anytime somebody else is willing to do that, and then all you have to do is really, like, be there. If you're like ungrateful for that, I think that you're losing twice. Let me put it that way. And I don't think it just necessarily has to apply to streaming, you know. I'm sure there's opportunities for that in your real life. Maybe not as frequently, but you would be stunned. Again, I'm not trying to spill the tea, sis. But, you know, sometimes after an event, there will be, like, a feedback thread. And some of the stuff that people will write, like, non-anonymously. I'm like, man. Apparently, your time is, like, worth a lot more than mine. Because you are very upset. And you would think, I know in your head right now, you're going, like, yeah, I get it. It's the big streamers. They're out of touch. It's, like, not. You know, a lot of the times, it's streamers who are, like, not that big. And I'm like, what are you mad about? This is a good opportunity, dude. Yeah, sure. I mean, I wish catering hadn't just been like, you know, mayonnaise-forward sandwiches. You know, but apart from that, you know, what are you gonna say? Is, you know, they still catered. Not now because of COVID. Every event is remote, but you get what I mean. I don't know, man. It's just surprising to me. I'm also always like, I mean, if it sucks, like, just say it privately. Like, I don't want to give the impression that I don't complain. I'm aware of the fact that, like, the vast majority of my content is complaining about minor stuff. So I recognize it. But there's a difference, you know. I might complain about somebody's actions at the deli counter, but I would never tap them on the shoulder at the deli counter and go, excuse me, sir, do you understand that your actions are unacceptable? That's like an a-hole move. To talk about it later, it's not even really behind their back, unless you consider, like, you know, every joke in stand-up comedy history to be a joke behind somebody's back. You know, it's just the way she goes. We on depths caves too? What are we, like 4 seconds into this run? This is incredible. So we do have poor damage. This is more, you know. I think with stuff like that, there's a very common expression, you know, you catch more flies with honey than with vinegar. Not for me, I'm a big fan of sour flavors, but just in general, I guess flies. I mean, that's true, you don't culture flies on balsamic. You'd use an sickly, sweet-smelling growth medium. But anyway, what was I saying? Think, you know, around the dinner table to your spouse, your life partner, your friends, maybe you go like, ah, this was like a cluster. But, you know, to the organizers, you go, hey, you know, it would be nice if like this happened, but at the same time, it was a great opportunity to be here, and I would love to be considered for the future. Okay, don't take that yet. We want it all. That's doubtless. Because we really, I think it's worth getting it all. For sure. So you might as well, it doesn't matter which one you pick up first in that case. The flying and the speed is really good here. And then we do have more HP on the outside, but that's the only thing that's giving me the kind of power that I feel right now to kind of go deep on this Demon Judgment, which is really inadvisable. But if it works, and it worked, we're going to be stoked. And if it didn't work, we were still probably going to be fine. Like 99% probability. So it was a good time. I lost my mind. I don't know if you watched it. If you haven't watched it, I'll give you some context. Between award categories, they did a variant of Marbles on Stream called Raptor Racing. And again, I'll give you an extra level of context. Marbles on Stream is an entirely luck-based game where like everybody in a chat has their name and avatar attached to a marble, and then it rolls down like a physics-driven course, and there's bumpers and things that'll knock it off, and, you know, tight turns and loop-de-loops and stuff like that. So it was a variant of that for all the people that were co-streaming the event. I lost my mind when out of all the co-streamers, Bear Taffy actually won a round. Again, there's no skill involved whatsoever. It's literally, like, if there was skill involved, I mean, this guy has, he's been my nemesis in so many different things. Champions Assault, Checkpoint League, you know, rap battles, Tournaments of Shame over the years, etc., etc. So I would have given him great odds. But to win something that's entirely luck-based is in its own strange way almost harder. So I give him a lot of, well, I mean, not credit necessarily, but I was happy for him is what I'm trying to say. And then I think DoorDash, because they sponsored the event, DoorDash gave out like 200 gifted subscriptions in his chat. it was just a pog day all around. And then, of course, you know, again, this might age like milk, but, you know, the Canucks winning Game 6 against Vegas in, well, maybe not convincing fashion, because we were outshot like 48 to 22 or something, but 4-0 is a great score, and it's a nice feeling. Like, so here's the, if you're a sports fan, and I've said this so many times, if your team's the bullies, I don't care if you root for them. That doesn't make you a bully, unless you're one of those guys that's posted on the subreddit that's going like, oh, at least before we lose, somebody injure this guy, you know? And I don't even hold that against you, because there were people saying that on the Canucks subreddit when the Canucks were down 3-0. They were like, you know, and we don't claim them. You know, people that were like, oh, well, if we're going to get eliminated, can somebody please just hit Reeves from behind? I'm like, come on, man. It's just a game. You want to give this man a brain injury? Plus, I feel like asking for somebody to injure a guy is just proof that he, like, got inside of your head. So please don't, you don't speak for the rest of the franchise. But, my favorite story of the playoffs has been the Las Vegas Bullies getting extremely mad at Elias Pettersson. Like, Game 1, they heckled him saying, there you go, you little squirt. And then in Game 2, he came back and got 3 points, first star in the game. And then, of course, Jonathan Marchessault on Instagram, shut the frick, Lil you-know-what, go suck on your mommy's you-know-what, stop wasting my time. And then in the last game, apparently they were heckling again, and they said that because they keep taking penalties, they keep getting penalties drawn when they try to slash Pettersson across his calves. Which is, you know, in the rule book is probably like picture 101 of how to get called for slashing in hockey. But anyway, that or like hit them on the hands and break the stick in half. They said, it's the same effing guy every time. Limp, you know what, can't believe it. Effing awful. It's just like... Even if the Canucks lose, we've already won the moral victory because they got mad. And that's how it works, right? I've spent enough time on the internet. They say if you laugh, you lose, but it's not like that. It's really like if you get mad, you lose. And they're big mad. Like, if anything, it's such a great position to be in to have pushed the series to 7 games. And I apologize for hockey talk. I know it's very insular, but, you know, it might not be around for longer than, like, another day. But, yeah, keep moving on here. It's like win-win. We push it to 7 games, and then even if they win, they're going to be annoyed with us, which is great news. And they might even be like, "Wow, aren't you upset? You made it. You got some hope, and then you lost in Game 7." I'd be like, "Nah, dude. I thought we were going to lose in 5." To have pushed you to it's frustrating playing against an opponent like this because, you know, to have pushed you to 7 games, they already think they've won. You know, how are you supposed to get in their head if they're already pleased with themselves? It's a tough one. Hard to frustrate someone who's elated. Anyway, whatever happens, happens. Again, I gotta remind people, you know, like, the Canucks are like Bozo dubbed over. They ain't even supposed to be here. If we pull out a miraculous performance, then that's Pog City. If we lose in Game 7, it's still Pog City. Anyway, that's hockey, which was it happened like several days ago. This is Necropolis 2, so hold on a moment, please. Magician is not a good choice. We will donate the rest of our money. You know what's weird, dude? So I was watching this show Forged in Fire, okay? And it's a dorky show, but I like it. I don't like, you know, set the DVR, but if it's on and I can't find anything else, it'll be near the top of the list of candidates. What is Forged in Fire? It is like imagine a cooking show like Chopped or even Iron Chef. But instead of cooking, it's like blacksmiths from across America whose, you know, their task is they'll and this was like Beat the Judges or something, so it had an extra wrinkle to it, but it was like, you know, your task is to go home to your home forge and forge a sword that meets these parameters. I'm gonna be honest, y'all, we're going, let's see if our item room's right here. No, we already saw our item room, didn't we? Yeah, it was Magic Finger. We don't care. I'm still glad I came to this room though. But, and you know, they'll be like, make a scabbard, you know, and then they do a bunch of tests, like, can it cut through a pig carcass? Can it cut through copper pipes? And I have no idea if any of this stuff has, like, any merit as far as, you know, smithing goes, but, oh my god. It's just kind of a fun show. But I was losing it because they had, like, a Beat the Judges competition, right? So there's an amateur, or maybe a professional blacksmith, but not someone who's famous for being on the show, and they play against a judge. If the amateur wins, they get 10 grand. Hold on, let me caffeinate here. If the amateur wins, they get 10 grand. If the judge wins, they get 10 grand to the charity of their choice. Now, I'm not anti-charity, but I am like, you know, don't you think it's kind of a weird thing? Because these guys are not, like, independently famous, I think. Like, when you are on Rock and Roll Jeopardy, when you got, like, you know, David Bowie's playing Jeopardy, and they're like, the winner doesn't get the money, the money goes to charity, you're like, yeah, I get it. But this is like, hey, is Tom Smith, he's making swords out in, like, Wichita, Kansas. I'm just saying, like, there might not be that much financial difference between the judge and the amateur in this case. And I was thinking, like, isn't it weird then that, like, you know, at a golf tournament, it's not like if Tiger Woods or Phil Mickelson win, the money goes to the charity of their choice. You know, they're doing their job, and if they win the money, and they can do with it what they please. But for me, it's just, I guess maybe the optics would look weird. I wonder almost if there's like I don't want to say, what's the word? It's not antitrust, but like, you know, if there's like an anti-collusion law that like an employee of the show can't win a prize. That makes way more sense to me. But I was also like, I'm pretty sure, look, everybody can use an extra 10 grand, right? But I'm pretty sure, oh, we got Guppy, that the judges could also use an extra 10 grand. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Forged in Fire is one of those shows that, like, you know, if you're on as a judge, you're making like a staggering amount of money. I'm sure there's more money in some of these TV shows than I could possibly imagine. But I felt bad for the judge because the judge won. I mean, it's a good thing that you can give the money to charity, don't get me wrong, but I'd be surprised if there weren't conversations at some point if he's like, hey, could I get like a 50-50 split? Because, you know, trying to make mortgage this month. I don't know. Maybe not. I mean, it's very clear I don't know what I'm talking about. Okay, keep me moving here. It doesn't. You can hit me as much as you want. It only makes me stronger. So yeah, those are my thoughts on the television program Forged in Fire. I think it's a good show, dude. I mean, so I've made fun of the History Channel a lot. I consume a lot of history-related content. You know, I listen to a lot of... Well, I consume about 6 minutes of history-related content a day. But that's a lot of content for me. While I'm going to bed, I'll put on, like, The Great Courses, the history of the American Civil War, or something like that. And then I'm out like a light, hearing about the atrocities at Antietam. But, like, the History Channel is not really history anymore. It's kind of like, you know... I mean, I don't even know what to say. It's vaguely related to history. It's like the World War II, conspiracy, aliens, and like Swords channel now. And Pawn Stars. But like, I actually do like the History Channel, weirdly enough. Like, if I had to pick a top 10 cable channels, I think I would put the History Channel... It would probably make the list. Definitely one sports channel would be in there. Can I include HBO? I know it costs extra, but so does the History Channel. But I think it would be up there. Like, I was having a good time when they were running The Strongest Man in History. I was like, don't get me wrong, I don't think the show has really any historical value outside of a little bit of interest, like curiosity's sake. But it's like, you know, it was just a kind of a cool opportunity to watch very strong guys lift very heavy things, and then, like, you know, in the intermissions they're like, yeah, I don't know, like a really strong guy came to Scotland 200 years ago and lifted this across this bridge. I gotta tell you, so apparently, I forget what they're called. They're like the Pitney Stones or something. These super, like, mythological strongman implements. They're like incredibly uneven, heavy stones. And the legend is that this unbelievably strong man came to Scotland, as mentioned. I'm going to take this, believe it or not. And he lifted the stones across the bridge, and people were like, they lost their mind. He walked them across like a 60-foot long bridge or something like that. Now, on the show, Brian Shaw, who is one of the strongest men who's ever lived in noted history, was able to get them like half the way across the bridge. This calls the whole legend into question for me. Because Brian Shaw, you know, he's 6'8", 430 pounds or something like that. You're really telling me that in like the 1800s, there was, and he's eating 12,000 calories a day, and like he's got the most current sports nutrition and science and stuff like that. And his whole life revolves around lifting heavy things. You're telling me that there was just a dude in Scotland in like 1906 who's like, I can do it. I don't know why he's from New Zealand. It's more like, I can do it. I don't believe it. You know, there is something to be said about the strength of, you know, previous generations. I would never question that. You know, I think, in particular, you know, if you worked a physical job in, you know, 200 years ago, of which most of them were, I suppose. I guess there was clerical work and stuff, but, you know, a lot more people were working in, you know, like agriculture and, you know, machining and stuff like that, at least after the Industrial Revolution. But regardless, hold on. I don't want it. I've decided I do not want it. You know, I think that you build up a kind of strength that, you know, the average kind of like desk jockey like myself will never do no matter how much we work out. Like, we could be strong, but, you know, there's the kind of strength you get. Maybe this is a fallacy, so, you know, I get that, you know, muscle is muscle, but, you know, there's the strength I feel that you get from, like, working out 5 times a week, even if you're lifting very heavy weights, and there's the strength that you get for doing, like, proportionally, substantially lighter manual labor, but doing it for a much longer period of time, 60 hours a week for decades, you know? That's why, like, you know, I'll be honest with you, I've never been in a fight in my life, and I really don't see the reason outside of genuine self-defense. Like, I'm not one of those guys who would be, like, disrespected at a bar and be like, well, now one of us has to die. You know, I'm not like that. This is not a Hamilton Burr situation. I would be like, all right, you got me, I'm gonna leave, and you can live the rest of your life thinking that you got me, but really, you know, I mean, I'm not worried about my honor, I guess. I'm a streamer, you know, it wouldn't make any sense. But what I was gonna say, what was I gonna say? Oh, if I had to choose in a fight between, like, a 25-year-old bodybuilder and a 55-year-old, like, plumber, or, I don't know, like a 55-yearold baker or something like that, I would choose to fight the bodybuilder 10 out of 10. I'm not being facetious. I'm not saying I would beat the bodybuilder, but I think if you would look at the baker, maybe. Hold on, I just want to see what we're at here. Let's get some charges on this. I don't think we're gonna die either way, but why risk it, right? Even though the pause button is awesome. I'm telling you, if you look at the forearms of somebody who's been, like, making bread or pizza dough for their whole life, you might look at the gut and be like, oh, you know, in some situations they look like they're out of shape. I'll take them instead of the bodybuilder. I mean, dude, I'm telling you, look at the forearms. That's how I'd gauge someone's strength. It's not like the size of their trapezius muscles. You know, it's not like in a fight they're gonna shrug me. It's the forearms that scare the crap out of me. That's because that's the squeezing muscle. It's like if they get their hands on you, you're getting kneaded. That might not be true in UFC, by the way, but I don't watch UFC, so. Ever since they banned eye gouging, it's been a coward's pursuit. Let me out of here. This is a long run, but it's a very good run for a run that's as long as it is, you know? I'm having a very good time today, don't get me wrong. It was pretty Easy, pretty consistent, no complaints. Like, no complaints at all, really. And on top of all that, some of the best deals with the devil we've had in a long, long time. Like, these were some very, very, very good deals with the devil. Succubus, Incubus, Nail, Dark Bum, Eye of Belial. Might as well take the Spirit Heart here. Excuse me? Excuse me, you should be deceased. Thank you. No, thank you. And no, thank you. I mean, we could get 2 spiders, but I'm just gonna level with you. I'm being a little lazy here. I think we've earned a little laziness on this one. We did the little things right for so long, and I mean, just to be straight up with you, this one is in the bag. We have no possibility of despair, especially as we are also guppy. Alright, just don't accidentally go to Void, and that is 39 wins in a row for now. Thanks for watching. Hope you guys have enjoyed it. If you did, click the like button. Helps out a great deal. Of course, subscribe if you want to see more in the future. For now, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. See ya!